Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Welcome to the Hunger Games version. Today we're going to be making the pumpkin soup from the second book in the Hunger Games series, which is Catching Fire. This is the soup that is described at the end of the Victor's Tour, described by Katniss when they are in the President's Mansion and everybody is feasting away. This is the first thing that she tries, which is the pumpkin soup, and she describes it: I encounter a creamy pumpkin brew sprinkled with slivered nuts and tiny black seeds. So I have a couple of different ideas for what to use for the black seeds. Couldn't find just plain black sesame seeds, so we're gonna try two different things and then we'll taste them both, see which one's better. And yeah, so join me for the ride. It should be fun. See you in a minute. As you can see here, I am opening my can of pumpkin. This was just over 1 pound pumpkin. It's like the big can that you see at the store. And we're just gonna open that up. You can see I have a Gale card there in the background. I have a couple of Hunger Games board games, so I figured I'd add in a little picture here and there. But yep, we're just gonna get this opened and then we will start with our vegetables. Here you can see I am starting with the onion. Does anybody else have such a hard time cutting onions? Like, I have seen countless videos on how to cut an onion. Still can't do it right, somehow. So we're just gonna get that baby peeled and cut. I'm gonna try to chop it up as finely as I can, but you'll be able to see at the, like, closer to the end of me cutting it up, I just got lazy with it. Now you can see I have Haymitch there in the background. Anybody else out there a big Woody Harrelson fan? I thought he was like the perfect person to play that in the Hunger Games. Now I did end up using half an onion for this recipe, but I recommend maybe just doing a quarter if you're not a huge onion person, because it was a bit oniony. I would do a little bit less next time. Chopping it up real lazy, like, there we go. That is how you do it in our kitchen. All right, here I'm just showing you how it looks cut up. Looks absolutely amazing, I know. I'm gonna go ahead and peel our garlic. I used 2 large cloves, but honestly you could really get away with just using 1 decent sized clove in this, because the flavor really comes through a lot with the pumpkin. And you can see now I have Peta in the background. Are you Team Gale or Team Peta? I feel like I've been on both sides, but I'm always Team Peta because she ends up with him, obviously. Alright, now we've got those done. I didn't chop them up because I have a garlic mincer, which I'm about to show you in a minute. If you don't have one of those, I would recommend getting one. I use garlic a lot in our kitchen, but it has made my life so much easier. We're just going to put about a tablespoon of olive oil in the pan. I've got it on medium heat. And in goes the onions. Now I'm going to let this cook for a couple of minutes before I add in the garlic. And then here I'm just going to make a little well in the center so the garlic can cook on its own. Sizzle up a little bit, and then I'll mix it all in together. And you can see now my person in the background is Katniss, of course. I'm making one of Katniss's favorite meals to make, which is soup. She says it's her best dish at home because she's not a very good cook. Alright, just get that sizzling away. Here we go. Now you can see how I'm going to start mixing it in with onions a little bit so that it doesn't burn. And I used, normally I would use butter instead of olive oil in the beginning, but because this is technically a vegan recipe, I used olive oil instead. I'm going to start salting it here. You want to make sure to be seasoning it at every stage, otherwise it ends up being super bland. I needed a decent amount of salt to make this taste the way it should have. That was just a little bit of salt and pepper. Now we're going to dump in our can of pumpkin. I wanted to get this mingled up together with the onions and garlic before I added in the broth, so we're going to dump this in there. So appetizing to watch this part. We're going to dump that in there. Looks great. And get it mixed up. I think I let it cook for roughly 4 or 5 minutes. We are all going to get to know each other in the pot. Any Office fans out there? Anyone know that quote? No? Just me? Okay. Alright, now that has been cooking for a couple minutes, I'm going to start by adding just 1 cup of vegetable broth in here. And then, if you have a whisk, I would recommend using a whisk at this part, but fortunately mine broke just a couple weeks ago, so I'm just going to stir it. The spoon works just as well. It was still looking a little bit too thick for my liking, so in a minute I'm going to add another half cup of vegetable broth. So altogether you're going to be doing 1.5 cups of broth to this. And just make sure to keep stirring because it will be bubbling up. It's a very thick soup. If you don't like spicy stuff, I would recommend skipping this step, but I love adding red pepper flakes to my soups, and it was actually like a really good choice for this one. I added just the right amount of like extra flavor that it needed. I didn't put very much in there. Get that all nicely mixed in. This is the part where I'm measuring out 1/2 cup of vegetable broth. And in it goes. Maybe hard to tell, but I originally recorded this video talking while I was making it, but the microphone wasn't on because I'm a pro, obviously, so that's why it's a voiceover instead, but you can tell that I'm talking in the video. The last seasonings I'm going to add is oregano. And that by this point it's starting to look a lot like a tomato soup. And that was basically the texture it has, is tomato soup, which I love. So this is on like my top 5 for soups now. Doing a little taste test, make sure it tastes good. I'm just continuously stirring it, trying to make sure everything gets mingled up together, and then I'm going to turn off the heat at this point and add in the vegan cream. If you don't have any issues with dairy, obviously you can just add regular cream if that's what you prefer. This one actually, I was surprised how much I like this one. You can't even tell that it's not real cream. I love this stuff, but it's like they're always out of it at the store. I put in about 1/4 cup to start, and then altogether I'm going to end up putting 1/3 cup of cream in here. Wasn't quite the color I wanted yet. Goes the last little bit, and you want to make sure that is fully stirred in before you stop mixing. You don't want any of those swirl bits hanging out on the top there. Even if you're not a Hunger Games fan, honestly, this is like the perfect fall soup. It was so good. I'm just doing 2 small bowls here because I wanted them to be the same size. These were the only 2 I had that weren't like plastic child bowls, so I'm using teacups. Don't you just love seeing how dirty the stove gets when you're making stuff like this? It's just great. And now we're just going to add on our toppings. I could not decide between these 2, but I have everything bagel crunch for one of them we're going to do because it has black sesame seeds in it. And then the other one is chia seeds. So I'm obviously thinking the everything bagel seasoning one is going to taste better, but you never know. Maybe we'll end up liking the chia seeds more. In the description she says something like there's black seeds dotted in it or something like that, which means there's probably a small amount of them in there. I put quite a bit of toppings on these, but I honestly thought they were both really good with all the stuff on top. Looks so good. Last little part that we're going to do is slivered almonds. She doesn't actually say almonds in the description, it's just slivered nuts, but that's the only kind you can find at the store. So that's what we get, is almonds. And there we go, there is our finished product. Time for a taste test. So now that we have them all made and ready to go, it's time to taste them. So I think I'm going to try the one with the chia seeds on it first. Kind of try to show you guys. The chia seed one. Kind of nervous about this one because I don't know if you're even going to be able to taste them or not, but let's find out. That one's pretty good. I wasn't expecting to like that one, but it's pretty good. The nuts, honestly, I would never think to put nuts on a soup, but that's good. Okay, now we're gonna try the one with everything bagel seasoning. This is the one I'm most excited about because that's oniony by itself. I think it's gonna taste pretty good together. Here we go. That's the one. Yep, that is definitely the one. Okay, now we know the Capitol would have used everything bagel seasoning on top, not just chia seeds. Alright, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please remember to like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. Hopefully there will be more videos like this in the future. And I'll see you guys in the next one.